You ever pushed your code and just kind of wonder, like, what's the actual magic that happens between your git push command and your app suddenly appearing live on the internet? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back that curtain. Using a platform like Render as our guide, we're going to follow the entire journey of your code, all the way from your laptop to a running global application. Let's get right into it. This sentence right here, this is basically the entire promise of modern cloud hosting. You can just forget about configuring servers, you can forget about managing networks or wrestling with security certificates. The whole point is to get all of that complexity out of your way so you can focus on the one thing that actually matters, building cool stuff with your code. And that's the simple idea we're going to break down today. So here's the game plan for our journey. We'll start with that big promise. Then we'll follow our code as it gets all packaged up, goes live for the entire world to see, and even learns how to run smartly, all by itself. After that, we'll zoom out and look at the whole neighborhood it lives in, and finally, we'll put that complete blueprint together.
All right, part one. Here's the thing. Our journey doesn't start with some weird server commands or a bunch of IP addresses. Nope. It starts right where you probably live every day, your Git repository. This is the simple but super powerful starting line for any modern app deployment.
It all kicks off when you connect your GitHub or GitLab account. The second you do that, the platform sets up something called webhooks. Now, that might sound technical, but all it really means is that every single time you type git push, the whole deployment machine just roars to life automatically. Your repo instantly goes from being just a folder for your code to being the absolute source of truth for what's running live on the internet. Okay, now for the first really big step, the build. Once you've pushed your code, the platform has to turn it from a folder of files into a standardized package that can actually run somewhere. I love this analogy. It's like a temporary, custom-built workshop is spun up just for your project. And inside this workshop, it's a super efficient 4-step assembly line. First, a temporary build container is created. Your repo gets cloned right into it. Then your specific build command, like npm install or pip install, gets run. And finally, everything is neatly packaged up into what's called a deploy image.
So let's peek inside that build container, because it's not just some empty box. It actually comes preloaded with everything it needs: a Linux operating system, runtimes for languages like Node and Python, all the build tools. It even cleverly caches stuff from your last build to make the next one way faster. It's this perfect, temporary little world that gets completely vaporized once the job is done.
And this right here, this is the whole reason we did that build phase. It's to create the deploy image. This is the final product that comes out of our workshop. The best way to think of it is as a sealed, self-contained snapshot of your app. Everything it needs, the code, the dependencies, how to start, is all locked inside, totally ready to go.
Phase 2, going live. Our application is all packaged up and ready, so now it's time for the launch sequence. This is where we take that neat little deploy image and we put it into a live environment where anyone, anywhere on the internet can actually reach it.
Now, a really key concept here is that not all apps need the same kind of home. On a platform like Render, these different homes are called services. You can see the most common one is a web service, which is perfect for a backend API. But you've also got specialized homes for things like static websites or background workers that do heavy lifting or even manage databases. You just pick the right tool for the job.
Okay, so your service is running, but how do people find it? This is where the platform's magic really shines. It automatically gives you a unique public URL. It sets up what's called a reverse proxy, which is basically a smart traffic cop to direct visitors to your app, and it even secures the whole connection with a free SSL certificate. All of that networking headache you used to have, just gone.
And this leads to a huge security win, because that reverse proxy, that traffic cop, it acts like a shield. It protects your application code. It checks all the incoming requests, it secures them, and only then does it pass them along to your running app. This means your code is never directly exposed to the wild, wild west of the internet.
All right, our app is live, but the work isn't over just yet. This brings us to phase 3, running smart. This is all about how the platform manages your app's lifecycle to keep it healthy and available without you having to lift a finger.
And the absolute key to making this all work is a core principle of modern software, treating containers as stateless. All that really means is that the running application doesn't permanently store anything inside itself. Every single time you deploy, it's a completely fresh start, booting up from that pristine, perfect deploy image we made earlier.
This is what's known as the swap, and it is absolutely brilliant.
When you deploy a new version of your code, the platform starts the new container first. Only when it's fully up and running is the traffic seamlessly switched over. Then, and only then, is the old one shut down. This is how you get zero downtime deployments and guarantee it's a perfectly clean start, every single time.
Now, if you're using the free tier, there's one important behavior you definitely need to know about. To save resources, if your service doesn't get any traffic for about 15 minutes, the container goes to sleep. The next time a request comes in, the platform has to wake it back up.
And that wake-up process is called a cold start. As you can see, it usually takes somewhere between 20 and 50 seconds. It's just the simple trade-off for having a completely free hosting service. On any of the paid plans, of course, your service is always on and always instantly available.
But what if your app crashes? Well, the platform is constantly watching it. It monitors the CPU and RAM, and if your app fails, it's automatically restarted. And if it keeps failing, the system can even trigger a full redeployment from your last good build. It is literally like having a little robot sysadmin on duty for you 24/7.
So, up to this point, we've really just been talking about a single application. But let's be real, applications in the wild rarely live all alone. So for our next section, let's zoom out and look at the entire ecosystem of support systems that surround our app. This table really lays out the entire toolkit you have at your disposal. Need to store data permanently? Boom, you've got managed databases like PostgreSQL. Need super fast caching or background job queues? You've got Redis. Need to serve images and other static files at lightning speed all over the globe? There's a built-in CDN. And for handling secret keys and passwords, environment variables are securely injected right when your app starts. And the best part? They all talk to each other over a secure, private network. So we followed our code all the way from a simple Git push to being part of this full-scale application ecosystem. Now let's wrap things up by looking at how the cost works, and then do one final recap of the entire blueprint. So you're probably wondering, what's the trigger that moves you from a free plan to a paid one? Well, it really just comes down to resources. You upgrade when you need more CPU and RAM, when you need one of those always-on services that never goes to sleep, or when you add powerful components like a dedicated database or background workers. It's that simple. And that brings us to the full blueprint, all in one place. It's this simple, really powerful flow. You connect Git. Your code gets built into a deployable image. That image is run in a secure container. A domain goes live and traffic gets routed to it. And from that point on, the entire process, deploying, restarting, everything is automated. And really, that's the whole point of all of this. Platforms like Render exist to handle the incredibly complex how. The servers, the security, the scaling, all of it. It's all just taken care of for you, which leaves you, the creator, with the most important and most exciting question of all.